Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have a great show for you today. First, how can Luigi Mangione win? I think I have his defense. A Kentucky legislator is trying to codify some of those unique legal theories. An Alaska woman convicted of killing her pretrial release officer robbed a bank and then get the guns. A story that sounds like something out of a mob movie for sure. Don't poison a show goat, ladies and gentlemen. You can get arrested for that. We have this day in legal history and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, hit that little bell for notifications, and yes, you can check us out on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, also, because the new year is coming up, you know you want to start off, and information is power, ladies and gentlemen. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service today, and when you do, you will be able to do as many background searches on anyone you desire here in the United States, and that report is literally generated while you wait, and the final result will be emailed to you, and it can be updated when new information is in fact updated on that report. And you're going to get all kinds of information about whether someone is married, whether they have debts, whether they have judgments against them. Do they have to register as a sexual offender? Do they have a criminal history? All the types of things that, well, people may not necessarily volunteer to you that when they're trying to get to know you, but things that you may want to know about them before you get to know them better. Go to crimetalksearch.com. You're going to be happy that you did. Start the new year off safely. All right. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. And obviously, it is Monday. We have New Year's on Wednesday, which is going to be very, very nice. I can anticipate a great year, not only for Crime Talk, but for each and every one of you. And it's going to be a good year. I can feel it. All right. Let's go ahead and get to the docket. How can Luigi Mangione win? Well, I think I have his defense. Now, last week we talked about jury nullification. And jury nullification is very difficult because, well, you can't tell the jury, find him guilty because you believe with the alleged actions of Luigi Mangione. And since you don't like insurance companies, find him not guilty. You can't do that. So what do you have to do? You have to beat the prosecution at their own game. And what is their game? Well, they, the prosecutors, must prove each and every element of the offense of each crime charged beyond a reasonable doubt, right? If you have 5 elements in a criminal offense, the prosecution has to prove all 5. If they fail to prove all 5, it would be the solemn oath and obligation of the jury to find Luigi Mangione not guilty. So, for example, the crime of murder, honor, bout, and date, place charged. The defendant knowingly took the life of another person, no legal justification to do so. You see where I'm coming from? The elements. And if they fail to prove one, and what is the key element here? Because a lot of defenses are affirmative defenses saying, I did it, but I was somehow justified. Well, being that you don't like insurance companies is not a legal defense. Heat of passion, probably not so much. A little bit of planning goes in there. So what is the best defense for Luigi Mangione based upon what we know thus far? And obviously I reserve the right to change my mind based upon new information, just like any good criminal defense attorney. But here it is. ID, identification. They must prove that it was in fact Luigi Mangione who was in that jacket with the hood up and the mask on, not somebody looked like him, not someone using his identity, but that it was in fact Luigi Mangione. And that is the best thing. Say, nope, you got the wrong guy, ladies and gentlemen, and Luigi Mangione has been wrongfully accused of a crime that he did not commit. That would be the argument to the jury. Well, how are they going to do that? Well, we know, for example, it's alleged that the manifesto and his DNA and things of that nature were found on the firearm or for the bullets casings that were found at the scene. But does that mean that he, cross-examination, you can say, but you can't say when that DNA got there. You don't know if somebody had told him about it, talked about it beforehand, and maybe they tried to use that to set Luigi Mangione up. And here's the defense, right? We've all seen the photographs of Luigi Mangione leaving, and a lot of people are saying that can't be him. The eyebrows are not the same. But let me give you an example of a case where something like this actually worked. So back in 1991, there was a quadruple murder where a bank was robbed. And a guy by the name of James King was accused of it. It was a death penalty case, and he was found not guilty. Well, how did this come about? Well, and there's an interesting book, and the reason it's called Murder in the Bank Vault, and the attorney who prosecuted the case was Walter Garash. He is now passed away, but Walter Garash was a legend here in the Denver area as an attorney. Very bold, would go to trial. I had the pleasure of actually doing a couple of cases with him. Just a great attorney and would go to the ends of the earth for his clients. But there was a picture this was the composite photo of the person that was identified by the police. This was the disguise that the shooter that went into the bank vault in the United Bank building and killed 4 security people and took off with a ton of money. The money was never found. James King is charged because he used to work at the bank. He was a retired police officer. And so obviously the defense at the trial was that you got the wrong guy. And we'll put these up. So if I'm holding up this book here. So these were various photographs of the same disguise. That was the composite as the witnesses identified the victim. He had on a hat, he had on sunglasses, and he had a mustache. And so what they did was, the defense attorneys did, was that they had made like a chart and it had a photo underneath, and you literally lifted it up and you could take away the hat and the mustache and the glasses. And what they did at the time is they put up very prominent people underneath the disguises. So Lee Iacocca, who was pretty popular at the time, former chairman of Chrysler, right? Marlon Brando, Robert Duvall, and Jack Nicholson, all there as well. They also did one with Harrison Ford. And guess what? The jury ultimately found him not guilty. And so, therefore, if that's the type of thing that the defense is going to do, if they're going to go identity, all those photographs that were taken, right? Nothing clear, eyebrows seem to look different in different photographs when he's arrested versus the one that they're trying to say was him. And if you can put the disguise up with various people, the hoodie and the mask, and you pull that back and it's going to be somebody else, I think Luigi Mangione has his defense. It's not him. Now, am I going to say this is going to work? I don't know. But as a criminal defense attorney, you have to come up with something you have to do, right? The elements, that's what they have to prove, that it was the defendant. Not somebody who looked like him, not someone using his identity, but it was, in fact, the defendant, Luigi Mangione. That's the defense they've got to run, ladies and gentlemen. Now, hold me to this. If I'm wrong, you can let me know as well. But like I said, any criminal case, the elements have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Here, you have a mask. Somebody has a hood over them. They're going ID. They got to go ID. All right. Next in Luigi Mangione news, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, has become kind of the center point for some high-profile cases. Obviously, Luigi Mangione is being held there, and he's the prime suspect in the United Healthcare killing of their CEO, Brian Thompson. And obviously, rapper Sean P. Diddy Do It Combs is also facing some serious allegations himself. Now, Mangione and Diddy are on separate floors at the particular moment. Mangione remains in the SHU, affectionately known as the Special Housing Unit, and that's where usually defendants are held for their own protection or until they basically can prove that they can do okay in a prison pre-sentence confinement type environment. Now, obviously, the federal detention center there is close to the federal courthouse in Manhattan, where both of those men can attend their court appearances without extensive travel. Now, Mangione's next hearing is scheduled for February 21st of 2025, and they'll determine the next steps in the proceedings. Now, obviously, he's pled not guilty. He's entitled to that presumption of innocence, and not only than sharing the same detention center, guess what? They share the same married couple as their attorneys. Now, Karen Friedman Agnifilio, she's the former prosecutor from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and she represents Mr. Mangione. And she is married to Mark Agnifilio, who represents old P. Diddy. Now, they're still in the same firm. Karen Friedman is of counsel with the firm, probably so they avoid any conflicts or anything of that nature. And she can come and go as she please because she's this legal analyst. And she does some consulting as it relates to, I think it was Law and Order that she does some work on as well. Anyway, there you go. Some Luigi Mangione news. But the other thing that we want to talk about is you can't legally put money on the fate of Luigi Mangione, at least not in the United States. Now, a betting website called Kalishi is one of the only legal prediction markets. They pulled all bets related to the United Healthcare assassination in the middle of December, citing problems with federal regulators. Now, gamblers who want to bet on something a little more exciting than maybe football games are using prediction market sites where they can bet on the outcome of just about anything. Well, the Commodities Future and Trading Commission, affectionately known as the CFTC, has oversight on prediction markets like Kalishi and Predict. And then on December 13th, all wagers related to Mangione vanished from the sites. Now, Kalishi removed the Mangione-related wagers from sites after it received a notice from regulators. And the outlet notes that the CFTC bans future trading linked to crimes including assassination, terrorism, and war if the agency decides the so-called event contracts are against the public interest. Now, the other betting website is on Polymarkets, and on Polymarkets, all assassin-related bets are still on. Polymarkets is based overseas at London. So the question there is, will Luigi Mangione fire his lawyers between 2025? Polymarkets has the odds at just 1%. Will it be confirmed that Luigi Mangione used psychedelics? Well, the users that are on Polymarkets give it a 43% chance. The question of, was Luigi Mangione motivated by denied claims? Well, on December 10th, Polymarkets had this at a 75% chance, but obviously that went down to about 25% once it was revealed that he wasn't even a customer of United Healthcare. So anyway, none of the Mangione-related bets are high volume at over $400,000. Is Luigi Mangione's YouTube channel real? That carried most of the volume. However, the viral YouTube channel has long since been determined to be fake. And the question about his motivation is at $183,000, but every other market has failed to get above $100,000. Now, the prediction market takes a percentage of the bets, and Kalishi and Predict are likely not missing a lot of cash by losing the assassin-related bets. Now, the CFTC's move to remove Mangione-related bets from Kalishi is the latest in an ongoing fight against the prediction sites. It's tried several times to regulate what kind of wagers people could place on websites like Kalishi and Predict. Now, earlier this year, it tried to stop the sites from allowing people to bet on elections, sporting goods, and ceremonial events like the Oscars. But the United States Court of Appeals overturned the ruling of the lower court in October, which allowed people to bet on the election results as well. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like you all want to talk about Luigi Mangione, so let's do it. We might as well give him a defense. Obviously, we're not being consulted by Luigi Mangione, but you're welcome. You're welcome for the legal defense. You can send my normal hourly rate. Anyway, next, a Kentucky legislator wants to codify those unique legal theories that we've talked about here on Crime Talk. So the Kentucky legislature is going to take up a bill in the new year that would make parents responsible for their juvenile child's committing a crime involving the discharge of a firearm. So a state rep there in Kentucky by the name of Kim Banta, she's a Republican from Erlanger, drafted her legislation after similar laws that hold parents accountable for property crimes and motor vehicle accidents. So in the state of Kentucky, parents are liable for up to $2,500 in cases where their kids deface property, and the guardian who signed a minor's driver's license application is jointly and severally liable for any findings of negligence or damages behind the wheel of a car. And I get that, but it's a negligence standard. That's what we have a problem with, Kentucky legislator. Now, this Republican state legislator there in Kentucky says that the most important thing she is not trying to do is stop gun sales or enact gun control. She simply is trying to make parents aware that whether it is driving a car or doing anything else their child does, They need to know what they are doing, and they need to exercise caution. What have we said, ladies and gentlemen? All these unique legal theories going after school shooters because you're a bad parent trying to codify it. It's ridiculous. Like I said, be careful what you wish for because they're coming after you. When your kid does a stupid thing one night, they're coming after you. Anyway, legislator Banta's proposed bill imputes negligence or willful misconduct of a minor on their parents, guardians, or for civil damages stemming from injuries to another person that are caused by a person, the juvenile, with a gun. Now, factors in determining parental liability include whether the elder allowed the child to have the gun, was aware of previous gun law violations, or believes the minor to have the propensity to be violent. And then on Friday, legislator Banta said they had been recent cases in Kentucky where several 15-year-olds got into a fight, purportedly over drugs, and one boy went home, retrieved a gun, and came back and shot the two other youths. How is that the responsibility of the parents? What if the gun was stolen from somebody else? You're going to impute liability because your kid did something? I just hate this. If it would save just one life, wouldn't it be worth it kind of legislation? This is nonsense, ladies and gentlemen, but it'll probably pass because, well, sometimes Kentucky doesn't do the right thing, and the governor there Governor Beshear will probably, sign the bill if it makes it through. Hopefully it fails. Anyway, the legislator says, hey, a 15-year-old doesn't have the mental ability to make snap decisions that adults do, not in anger, not in routine life. So a gun in their possession, unsupervised, is a little different than an adult with a gun, she says. Oh, and by the way, foster parents, they would be exempt from the law. So apparently foster parents have a better lobby than parents because, hey, you're bringing somebody into foster care, possibly already damaged goods. You're protected if the foster is going to be charged because a foster kid does something. You're exempt. Clearly, they have a better lobby than everyday parents. Anyway, this bill is going to be presented in January when the legislature resumes, and hopefully it is DOA, ladies and gentlemen. Stop it with these new, unique legal concepts. Negligence is a civil standard. Guess what? If your child does something with a gun, guess what? You can sue them if you believe that it was negligence, that there was a duty, that they breached this duty, and their damages were a direct result of that particular negligence. It's a civil standard. You don't need to take the negligence standard into the criminal courts. Criminal courts have always been knowingly. That's why you have to establish the mental state of the defendant. In every criminal case, did you knowingly do something? Reckless disregard. It's a much higher standard than negligence. Would a reasonable person reasonably foresee that this could take place? So think about it. You have a very responsible 15-year-old. Everything has always seemed to be responsible, good grades, doing everything right. And then one day, they have their little heart broken by somebody at school, and then all of a sudden they go and do it. They go and harm themselves or do something else. How is that the parent's responsibility if they do not know? It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Next, a woman gets convicted for killing her pretrial release supervisor. That's awkward. So jurors convicted an Alaska woman of murdering her court-appointed supervisor and then stealing from his bank account. Please meet Sarah Dayan. She is scheduled for sentencing on May 6th of 2025, and the jury took 1.5 days to determine that she, in fact, killed her pretrial officer, Keith Huss. Now, the jury did accept a heat of passion defense on one of the murder counts in the first degree and for a count of murder in the second degree, but it didn't apply to the other counts of murder in the second degree. So other charges included burglary and theft. Now, Dayan has been released on bail back in September of 2020 in a different case, but as a condition, she had to go with Keith Huss, who would serve as her court-appointed supervisor. That same day, Keith picked Dayan up from jail at the Willwood Correctional Complex in Kenai, Alaska. Anyway, the two were seen getting into Dayan's vehicle, and they started their plan to drive to Anchorage to work at the food truck that Keith apparently worked at or owned. Anyway, troopers say that Dayan got her hands on a .45 caliber handgun shortly after getting out of jail, and a passing driver found Mr. Huss's body on the highway or near a rest area on the highway back in September of 2020 as well. Anyway, he had been shot 4 times with the .45 caliber and also hit with a car. Now, a trooper observed damages to Dayan's vehicle that was consistent with having been used to strike Mr. Huss, according to the police. And a review of Mr. Huss's bank account revealed that Dayan had used his bank account to purchase items for herself and had transferred hundreds of dollars from his bank account to hers after his death. The police also linked Dayan to a series of vehicle thefts in the area. And needless to say, Ms. Dayan was ultimately arrested in October of 2020 in the city of Seward, which is apparently south of Anchorage. Now, the murder charges will be, they'll merge because obviously you'll only be convicted of the one. And so therefore she faces anywhere between 15 to 99 years in prison. Wow. Killing your pre-trial supervising officer. That is bold, bold. All right, a weird story here. Rob the bank, get the guns, and then go kill your intimate partner? Yeah, that's weird. So a traffic stop for speeding resulted in the arrest of a man wanted for a burglary of a bank in Wisconsin and shooting 2 people in Kentucky. Roosevelt Davis III of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is being held in the Shelby County Detention Center on charges of murder, domestic violence, attempted murder, domestic violence, and burglary. Now, the affidavit states that about 12:20 on December 27th, there in Washington County, they received a 911 call and that a man had forced his way into a home and shot 2 people. Now, police found 1 person dead inside the home and another person wounded. The wounded person, who the Kentucky State Police say is a 52-year-old, was taken to the Lexington Hospital for treatment. Now, Mr. Davis was identified as a suspect in the shooting. According to the police, one of the department's officers spotted a car with a Wisconsin license plate speeding on Interstate 64 near the 36-mile marker about 3 a.m. The vehicle got off in Simpsonville and came to a stop. And during that traffic stop, officers learned that Davis was wanted for the bank burglary and shootings. The arrest affidavit also states that after Mr. Davis was taken into custody, he admitted during questioning by the detectives to burglarizing the bank in Wisconsin. And David said he used the money to buy 2 guns and camouflage before driving to Kentucky with the purpose of killing 2 victims. Davis told the detectives that he used his shoulder to force open the side door and fired approximately 10 rounds into the home. Now, the Kentucky State Police have identified the woman as Kadisha Birch of Springfield. A family member apparently stated that Miss Birch had a history with Mr. Davis. The affidavit also outlines another domestic incident between Birch and Davis, where she claimed he strangled her before she was able to grab a gun and shoot. Court records show that Miss Birch posted bail just days before Christmas on her birthday. The family member said that Mr. Davis had been sending threatening text messages to the family since that initial incident. Domestic stuff, ladies and gentlemen, always around the holidays. Always around the holidays. Tragic. Tragic indeed. This sounds like something out of a mafia movie. So 6 family members from a Bolingbrook paving company were arrested and accused of assaulting workers for a rival company. Now, according to the incident report, E.H. Paving was paving a man's driveway about 1 p.m. on December 19th when the property owner saw 3 trucks pull up, stop in the roadway, and began arguing with the workers. He said 6 members from the Buckland paving family stepped out and began approaching the E.H. Paving with bats, sticks, and other weapons. And the property owner said that the men he hired attempted to escape, but they could not. The homeowner said it was something out of like the Sopranos TV series. Anyway, the Monroe County Sheriff, Brad Freeman, stated that the owner of the E.H. Paving said Willie Buckland Sr. hit one of his sons in the head with a bat. He added Willie Buckland and James Small Buckland Sr., son-in-law, attacked his other sons, and that the Luke Buckland attacked his nephew. The report said many of the E.H. Paving Group had knots and bruises One threw up and was lightheaded, and he was taken to the hospital. Now, the Bucklands had several scrapes and small cuts, and based upon the charges, Mark Buckland Jr. incited the brawl. However, the report said the fight escalated when his 77-year-old father, Mark Buckland Sr., pulled out a cowboy-style pistol, scaring the other men in the group. A man from E.H. Paving pointed his gun at the Woods and fired a shot to scare off the Buckland family. Now, according to the report, E.H. Paving owner said that the Buckland family had shown up at another place where they were working, like in Griffin and Macon, Georgia, and started fights there as well. He said they attacked the E.H. Paving people on December 19th because they were doing a paving job close to one of the Buckland's houses, and they found that to be disrespectful. These are adult men. The sheriff noted, adult men with pretty good reputations. Anyway, the report said the 6 Buckland men, who all own various paving companies throughout central Georgia, were charged with criminal trespass, and some were charged with simple battery and aggravated assault. The eldest, the Mr. Buckland Sr., the man with the antique firearm, was also charged with pointing a pistol at another and tampering with evidence, placed his long cowboy-style gun into another man's truck. Anyway, Willie Buckland Sr. was charged with aggravated assault, while the rest of the Bucklands were charged with simple battery. Wow. Can you imagine that? If attorneys started beating each other up because you represented somebody, near your neighborhood? Could you imagine? What kind of petty BS is that? I mean, these guys think they divided up the city of Georgia for paving jobs? Oh, maybe they have. They've been known to work like that in the construction business. Hey, next on the docket. Hey, let's not kill a prize goat. A Texas cheerleader has been charged with animal cruelty. This after police say she poisoned another student's show goat. Aubrey Vandelham was arrested late last month and charged with cruelty to livestock animals after police allege that they have security footage of her giving toxic pesticides to a classmate's goat using a drench gun. Apparently, it's a tool generally used to administer medicine to goats and other farm animals. Hold on, I think I have one right here. No, I don't. I've never heard of it. But anyway, apparently in Texas, everyone's got one hanging around. Anyway, prosecutors say the goat named Willie died about a day after he was allegedly given the toxic pesticides, experiencing symptoms like convulsions and respiratory distress before ultimately passing away. Now, the alleged Vandelham did intentionally and knowingly torture a livestock animal, according to the police, as they have alleged in the complaint. And police say this went down at the Vista Ridge High School at the barn facility in Cedar Park, Texas, about 20 miles north of Austin. Anyway, apparently Aubrey has already confessed to her crimes of poisoning the goat, allegedly admitting that this was her second attempt because she claimed the animal's owner's daughter was a cheater. Now, before Willie was killed, police say that Aubrey searched for information on her phone about lethal poisons for animals and also how to clear her search history. Ms. Vandelham was released on a $5,000 bond. You gotta love it, ladies and gentlemen. The holiday season, let's kill the cheater's goat. That will show her. No, that's cruelty to animals. Unless, of course, you want to eat the goat. Then it's okay. But you can't torture the animal. Next on the docket, this day in legal history. On December 30th, 1952, the Tuskegee Institute reported that in 1952, that was the first year of no lynchings of black Americans. That's right. On December 30th, 1952, the Tuskegee Institute reported that 1952 was the first year of no lynching of African Americans in the United States in the 71 years it had kept records in the United States. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Massachusetts State Police trooper has been suspended without pay after he allegedly stole from a local Target store on 20 occasions. That's right. Zachariah Kent of Sutton, Massachusetts, was caught by Target loss prevention employees in Millbury and is accused in 23 separate shoplifting incidents at various Target stores, 11 of them in Millbury. Now, the thefts were reportedly captured on security camera. Oh, it turned out he was a police officer, right? He's accused of stealing over $800 worth of merchandise from that Millbury Target store and golf balls worth over $200, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Mr. Kent was issued a court summons and is scheduled to appear in court on February 25th. He has been relieved of his duty and suspended without pay. As soon as they became aware of the theft allegations, he was relieved of duty. There are also several internal affair investigations that have also been opened. All right, Officer Kent, really? $800 worth of merchandise and $200 worth of golf balls to ruin your reputation, your career, and future? Congratulations, Mr. Kent. You made it. You're a dumb criminal of the day. You squeezed in here just before the end of the year. By God, you made it. All right, that's all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. And remember, the Constitution matters.